Good morning. What's happening? This is vid number 3 today. I've shot 3 videos this morning. I got up around 5 a.m. this morning and got to work. And look, if I can do it, an old grizzled rock and roller like myself, if I can do it, then you can do it too. I want to be a shining example. Now look at that beautiful, that's a sandhill crane. See that flying across the horizon? See that bird? This is what you see when you get up early in the morning and you get after it. You see the beauty of the morning. You see the beauty. Everything, all the animals are getting ready to start their day, right? Because their journey has to start early. You know, when you're out in the wild, right? When you're trying to make sure that you get some food and fresh air and movement, man, I see all this life out there. And there might be a lot of people just sitting around their kitchen table, or maybe some of them have hit the snooze button a few times. That is the reality. That is the reality, man. Not everybody's going to hit the ground running in the morning, and that's okay, man. That's okay. But the reality is this. We've got so much to do in life. Like that truck, man. If you don't get up and get after it, it's going to pass you by. Life is going to pass you by if you don't get up and get after it. So, got this beautiful sun shining down on me. It's a glorious day. Thought I'd take us on a different path today. Take us on a different path. See some different sights. Get out of the norm, man. Normally I'm walking through the woods. Today I thought I'd take this nice sunny path and see where it leads today. Because it is a powerful, powerful thing, man. The sun is coming up. This is a rare thing for me to be able to get to do a walk by myself in the morning. I asked my wife if normally she goes to do it, gets up and takes a walk. And she said, no, I'm going to go to the gym later. I said, well, can I go for a walk? So I got the clear from the boss. We're off the chain. The dog is off the chain, bro. Dog is off the chain. But you know what, man? I like being there for my family. I like, making sure that they've got everything they need. Getting out here, man, and getting some exercise is a way that I can take care of myself so that I can be there to take care of them. And that is the reality of why I'm out here doing this. You know, it's another reason why I get up every morning. I get up early, extremely early, because I can get the work done and then have things to work on each day. I got up this morning and I shot 2 indoor videos, right? 2 indoor videos. And now I'm out here pounding the pavement on a good old-fashioned walk and talk. And I'm sorry if the camera's a little shaky, but man, I'm trying to keep up a brisk pace, right? In this unfinished neighborhood. And look, man, did you hear that bird? That's the sound of Florida, bro. That's the sound. You wouldn't hear that sound in Nashville. And look, the reality is this. I remember when I was sitting on my front porch outside of Nashville and doing my videos, right? And you would have the songbirds, Tennessee songbirds, early in the morning, right? And the reality is this. People said, oh man, what are you going to do when you leave Tennessee? You're not gonna have those songbirds singing in the morning, man. You're not gonna be able to make those videos. Man, I love the birds. I love the nature. I've got a different set of birds here. Look at that one right there. Look at that right there. We're gonna cross the street very briskly. Got traffic coming. We're gonna continue on our way. And we're going to make today a great day. That is the reality of all this. Make today a great day. It's a great day. I'm sharing some of this sunshine here, this Florida sunshine. And I think my wife says it might rain today, but man, it sure looks like the day is starting to shape up to be a beautiful one, at least now. And we'll see. I'm going to take you on this path. Call this the Gator Trail. Right now, I've only seen a couple gators in this area, but the reality is they're there. They are indeed there, and it's a large water area with a path between a swamp and a pond. Right? And it's cool to have these different paths to take in life, you know? It's a lot like life in that, man, you can choose several different paths. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own path in life. And that's the reality, man. But make sure that the path that you're on, is safe. Now, I've got my eyes peeled on this thing because it's alligator and snake mating season right now. And you never know when these alligators or the snakes want to come out and play, right? Here's the deal, man. It's been very, very dry the last few months here in Florida. So the water levels right here, are very low, right? It's almost like there's barely enough water to support the aquatic life that's in there, right? So hopefully, because the rainy season is coming, hopefully we will get a good amount of rain. Keep all these things alive, right? This was all over here. They've cut all of this, but this was like marsh over here. It makes me wonder, like, what are they doing here? You're going to build some waterfront property here? No, I don't think so. But this was all marsh, and they've cut this all back. Maybe because of, I don't know, man. It's weird. This was all water before. Now it's just one main water. It was all like marsh, right? So it's interesting. It's interesting to see what will happen. I can remember when we had the hurricane, this water over here, there was a stick in it to measure how tall it was. And it was way up, man. Some deep, deep water. And man, a lot of times in life, you could find yourself in deep water trying to keep your head above ground. That is the reality of life, man. It can be tough. It can be super, super tough. And I urge everybody, make sure you have a life vest in life. Make sure you have something to fall back on. Don't get out there in deep water and not have any way to survive. That might be the lesson of the day. Always have, I often will say, I didn't have any backup plan in the music business. And that is true. I didn't have an education to fall back on. I didn't stay in college, so I didn't have a degree. Wasn't really anything I could do but keep on the path, right? The reality is this: you've got to always, maybe it means having a few extra guitars so you could sell them if you need to. Maybe it's, having a few extra bucks in the bank put aside for a rainy day. Maybe it's, investing a little bit of something in stock, or, back in the days when you could get in a house for under $100,000, getting into the market and making some equity, right? That's all important stuff. That is the reality of life, man. And I know most of the old dudes that tune into this channel, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Life is not easy, man. These birds are out here. People said I wouldn't have songbirds here in Florida. I'm hearing like a million different songs. I'm hearing birds from this side. It's quadraphonic birds, bro. Quadraphonic. Everybody, all you older cats out there, remember quadraphonic records? I can remember I had one quadraphonic record as a kid. It was Elvis Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. And it was supposedly quadraphonic. I don't know if our stereo was even quadraphonic. Although my grandmother had a stereo that had speakers in different rooms and speakers all over the house. So I'd say essentially you were hearing sounds coming from all over the house when you crank that sucker up. But man, very low water here. You can see all these, it's like an island in the middle. This over here was all marsh. They've all cut this back. There's the stick marking where the water is. The water is not even to the stick. So man, we're in desperate need of water here. We're in desperate need of water. And I hope we get some soon. Just look at, there's ducks and stuff, geese over here. There's all kinds of cool stuff to look at, man. And I'm glad that I got this moment. I'm gonna have to go back and thank my wife for this moment, because man, I would not have seen all of this beauty, all of the birds and stuff. I think that's an ibis over there. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, there's all kinds of cool birds out here. There's a sandhill crane out in the middle of it. It makes me wonder where the gators went, right? Because I have seen gators on this side of this bank, right? And now that the water is so low, it's literally like there's a sandhill crane. I'm not sure if you could see it. You could see the ducks. You can see all those white birds out there. I don't know where the gators went, right? Because there were gators right along the side of this water, but maybe they've gone somewhere where there's more water, or maybe they're out in the deep of it. I don't know. But man, we are in desperate need of water out here. And that's another thing in life. Sometimes in life, you're in deep water. Sometimes you don't have enough. And what's the one thing in life that you need? You have to have what? You last 3 days without water or something like that? And I imagine if you were out in the desert, it might take a lot less time, right? You gotta have water. You gotta have air. And you can go without food for a long time. But man, in life, you either have too much water and you're trying to tread in it, or not enough. you've got to be prepared for either situation. That's the reality of life. You know, things aren't easy. Wow, there's a whole bunch. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's like 3 sandhill cranes out there. And this was all marsh before, but now they've cut it all back. So no doubt that they're out there just feasting on whatever. I think the birds are at the buffet right now. I think this is literally a buffet for birds because they're just out there going crazy. All the water's so low that if there's any aquatic life, if there's any tadpoles or minnows or anything like that, man, they can just scoop them up. But man, if the water gets any lower, that buffet could be riddled, right? That's the reality of all this, man. I've seen so much beauty here in Florida the last few months, right? I've been seeing sandhill cranes with their babies, right? And that's an amazing thing, seeing 2 sandhill cranes mate for life, right? And they've got their 2 little babies, and they're just kind of walking around. The little babies look like baby deer. They're kind of like that doe color with little spots like on them. And they eventually grow up to look like their parents, like a lot of us do, right? A lot of us grow up and look like our parents. That's the reality of life, man. Look at these birds here. Look at those birds. It's like a ton of them. They're all over the place here. This is really a special moment that I'm getting to share with you on this channel. I know people like these walk and talks, and I'm going to do them as long as I can pound the pavement. I've been pounding the pavement my whole life, always been on the ground level. I'm not, there was that song, Missing Persons, Walking in LA, right? It says nobody walks in LA, right? Because you'd have to be a nobody to be walking out there, because all the rich people are racing around in their Lamborghinis and their Ferraris and their Mercedes-Benz. Well, I always preferred walking. I used to call it hoofing it, right? And but when you're hoofing it, people are driving by in their Lamborghinis and stuff like that. Maybe you're broke. That could be a tough reality to face. That could be a tough. That's why LA was such a tough place to be as a broke rock and roll wannabe. It was such a tough place to be because you see all the opulence. You see all the wealth. You see people scarfing in the cafes on Sunset, scarfing their $30 omelets. And I used to hear stories about people at Spago having $100 pizza. And I thought that was the most outrageous thing I'd ever heard. But of course, now that I've got a family and prices are expensive, it's nothing to go out. And even if you try to keep the bill down, it's nothing for a meal with the family to cost $50 plus tip. And that's the reality. But man, back in those days, I couldn't believe that it was $100 pizza. What is on $100 pizza? Well, this was Spago, right? Anybody ever remember Spago? Didn't Spago start? He was one of the first celebrity chefs, right? And I would hear about because I knew a lady through the pawn shop. Her husband worked for one of the big record labels. He was an attorney for the label, right? And here's the thing, even knowing that, and even, people taking an interest in you She wouldn't pass on a tape. She wouldn't say, hey, let me help you. You know, it's just the way it is, man. You only get the opportunities in life that you go out and take, that you grab. Maybe if I'd have done something and been, playing somewhere, and then he would have entered the picture and said, oh, wow, okay, you've got a lot of talent. Then they would have taken notice. But nobody reaches to pull you off the street. Nobody stops you from pounding the pavement when you're choking on the fumes of some Lamborghini or a city bus. Because let me tell you something. The smell of a city bus, fumes, and a Lamborghini, well, they taste the same when you're walking the street. They all taste the same. And this is probably the longest walk and talk I've ever done on this channel. Usually what I'll do is I'll do 2 separate walk and talks. I'll do them on the same walk. Today I figured it's so beautiful out, and we saw so much wildlife. Continuing to see that and the sights and sounds of this, I just thought it might be enjoyable for everybody to tune in and see this. And man, a lot of times when I make these videos, just like I'm doing now, commenting on things I see, whether it's nature or the street or the sun or the lack of water and all that, it all comes back to the lesson. It all comes back to lessons that I've learned in life and that I share on this channel. Here's the deal. There's a lot of lessons to learn in nature. Nature teaches us a lot of lessons. You have to be open to those lessons. You have to be open to seeing, relating to being, too much water and drowning and not enough water and dying of thirst. These are things you can reflect on. If you pay attention to what life is trying to tell you, if you pay attention to the world around you, there's a lesson with each step of your day. With each step of your day, there is a powerful lesson. But you have to be open to the lesson. You have to be willing to listen. You have to have your eyes wide open to see what is before you. And as I walk down this path, as I take another breath, as I travel down this sidewalk, taking you along with me on this journey, getting here on YouTube, getting to share my message with the world, well, this might be the most powerful solo that I've ever done. And I thank you all so much for coming along on this ride, because this is a ride. Life is a ride, right? And that is a powerful, powerful thing to consider. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope everybody has an amazing day.